Hey everyone. Morning. It's another beautiful day, another Monday. It's a motivational Monday, right? Morning everyone. Morning everyone. Morning everyone. It's another Monday with another type of discussion or conversation. So, yeah. Hello. You're welcome to my life. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for being here. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining in. You're welcome to my life today again. Thank you for your support always. Thank you. I'm grateful that you're here. Thank you, mommy. Thank you for joining in. God bless you. Thank you. Thank God you are here because you requested for a discussion on one particular topic, and the topic is very sensitive. So we need to take our time to analyze it so as not to be misconstrued or be misunderstood. So that's why we are here today. And even the conversation or the subject matter is something everybody should talk about. Everyone should speak about it because it's very common. It is very common. We should speak up, and it has a way of sensitizing the society, sensitizing people who don't take it as such. But today we are going to address that. Before we begin, I want to let you know that today's topic is very sensitive, and we'll be talking about child abuse, what it is, and how it affects people, and how we can help protect children. There's a very sensitive one here, so we need to treat it with so much carefulness. But I would say that if this triggers you or is triggering you, please take care of yourself and feel free to step away at any time. Because I know some of us might have gone through it either when we were a little younger, or even you might have witnessed it as an adult, as in being done to a child. So that's why I said it might trigger you at some point. But please, you need to just take care of yourself, and you are free to just take a step away. So now let's get to the matter, to the business of the day, or the subject matter right now. Why this conversation matters is that, one, child abuse happens more often than we think. It happens more often than we think, and often in silence. Why? Because the children involved might not be able to speak up for themselves. And it's something that happens around us that we might not take cognizance of. But maybe after we have discussed about it, after we have analyzed it, then you'll be able to recognize one when you see it around you. So, another reason why this conversation matters, if you are with me or you agree with me, just in the comment section, just tell us your opinion. Tell us if you're in agreement with me, or just let me know in the comment section. Many survivors never get the chance to speak out or get support. People who survive this phase, they do not speak up. They don't even have support. That is why we need to speak up. And that's why we need to converse about it. We need to have some conversations and be clear about it. Why do people who face this challenge don't want to speak out? It might be due to their naivety, it might be due to fear or something. Why this conversation matters. And talking about it open doors for healing. Yes. When you speak about a situation that you're going through, I think healing. Even aside from the fact that we are talking about the child abuse as the subject matter now, even every other thing you face, even as an adult, the first thing you do is to talk about it, because from it you get your healing. From it you get prevention. It might want to reoccur another time, but because you spoke up, you have prevented yourself from going through such again. I wouldn't call it trauma. You're going through whatever you feel you're going through, but the moment you speak out, because they said a problem half shared is half solved. The moment you are able to speak out, the moment you're able to share it with someone, that problems become something that is light weighted. It doesn't have any weight again because you shared it with someone. Your mind is free. Your mind is free. Then it gives room for change. There are changes you might not have known before or noticed, but as long as you are able to share that particular situation with someone, there is room for change, and there is probability that change will occur. So now, what is child abuse? It can be in so many forms. Child abuse can be in so many forms. And one of the forms that is very glaring, you will even see that this child is abused, is physical abuse. Physical abuse. As a mom, I know when a child is being abused. Beating up a child or harming a child in the process of maybe you're trying to correct the child, but in the process you tend to harm that child. That's child abuse. You don't harm a child. That child knows nothing. So harming a child is the physical aspect of child abuse. Another one is emotional abuse. Verbal attacks, when you curse a child or use foul language, it tends to have an impact on that child emotionally. When you tell a child you don't know this, or you use those foul language, it sends a signal to the child like, oh, why are you using this word on me? Definitely that child will be down emotionally. The child will be like, what's going on? Within the child, you don't know what's going on with the child, but only the child can say what he or she is going through emotionally. So when you use verbal attacks on a child, that's child abuse. Humiliation, humiliation. Do not humiliate a child. Do not make a child feel less of himself or herself. You are humiliating the child. You are humiliating the child, and that is part of the emotional aspect of abuse. Rejection. You behave some kind of way that the child feels, oh, I'm not accepted, or this person doesn't like me. That's rejection. That child feels abused. You don't reject a child. And in the aspect of having a child, when I said beating a child, I didn't say you shouldn't correct a child. But in the aspect of correcting the child, you must know that you must not inflict any bruises or any how do I put it? You must not harm the child in any way. The child must not feel pains on the body or something like at the end of the day they have to start looking after that wound or something. Do not harm a child. That's the physical aspect. Then the emotional aspect is the verbal attacks, the rejections, and the humiliation. This third part is common too, and I feel we need to keep speaking out in that aspect for the children. We need to keep speaking out. We need to do a kind of sensitization in any way we can. That's this sexual abuse. Both female and the male child go through sexual abuse, especially from adults. That aspect needs us to really look into it as adults, as parents, as people who are wishing they want to also give birth one day, or they want to also be a parent one day. That's, how will I say, prospective parent, or even as an observer. You need to you need to analyze. You need to speak out when you notice any of these abuse. You need to speak out. Our kids are really going through this emotional through this sexual aspect, but most of them will not be able to speak out. Perhaps the person who is involved with them has already given a note of warning or kind of threat that if you speak out, I'm going to do this. If you speak out, I will not do this. Perhaps that child might have been getting some monetary values, or maybe in terms of biscuit sweets from that particular person, and the person threatens that if you do this, if you let anyone know about this, I will not give you this, or I will not provide what I have been providing. Do you get? So that child will not be able to speak out, or the person even instill a kind of fear in the child, like, if you do this, this is going to happen, and the child will be scared because that person is only a child. The person involved is only a child. She doesn't know anything. So that's why I said this aspect needs so much attention. It needs so much attention. And if this is happening around you, please do not hesitate to speak up. You are saving a soul, and you are also saving a future, because that child is the future. So anytime you notice any of these abuse around you, please do not hesitate to speak up or report. And the last part on that, what is child abuse, the last part is neglect. When you neglect your duty as a parent to the child, you're not giving the child food, or you're not providing basic needs. You're not providing basic needs. That is child abuse. Love, food, supervision. The child needs these basic needs. A child needs food to survive. A child needs love to feel like, yeah, I am among, or to, in the emotional aspect, to feel attached with you. That is the love. You need to supervise that child. When it comes to supervision, when a child is doing something wrong, you should be able to correct that child. Correct the child in love. There are many types of correction. When you correct a child and you're not doing it in love, then that is abuse. You must correct the child in love. So you can say these things aren't just bad behaviors, they leave lifelong emotional scars. Like, if a child went through the physical abuse, the emotional abuse, the sexual abuse, or the neglect, it leaves a kind of long lasting memories. That child, when that child grows, the child will never forget. Those memories become scars. It becomes a wound that might not get healed. And you wouldn't want to risk that as an observer, as a parent, or as someone who is hoping that one day I'm also going to be a parent. So if you have any of these around you, please do not hesitate to speak up for that child, for the sake of that child. Remember, the child is the future. You're saving a soul. Why it's often hidden? Why do they always hide it? Why? What's the reason? So for now, maybe I'll just leave the conversation open for the audience to just say something. You can just say something before I proceed. Say something about everything I have just said. I have just said why this conversation matters, and I have also said the types of abuse we have, because what is child abuse? If we are to define it, we are going to spread our tentacles in different parts. And that is when I have mentioned the physical aspect, emotional aspect, the sexual aspect, and the neglect. I also mentioned that. So those four, the child abuse is embedded in those four. So if we are to give our definition, we are going to cut across all parts of the four. that I just mentioned. So now, if there is anyone listening to me out there and you feel I have a suggestion, I have an addition, I have an opinion, or I even have someone going through this beside me, but how do I speak out? Please, you can join in the conversation. Let's talk about it and let's help a soul today. Do you understand? Please. So, all these things are not just happening, they are happening because the life we live in now is very cruel, and you never can tell what you are doing to help that child that is closer to you or that you are just observing. When there is an injury inflicted on a child, please do ask the child, how did this happen? How do you come about these bruises? Do you understand? So, why do people who go through it hide it? Why is it often hidden? Number one is fear of not being believed. And yes, it's always happening, especially with people who are not really too observant. When you tell them things, or when that child open up to you that this and this and this have been happening, maybe the child has even told you once, but you weave it off like, no, maybe it doesn't matter or something like that. Do you understand? Maybe next time the child will just feel like, oh, I told this person, but this person didn't believe me. So let me just keep quiet. Let me just keep it to myself. That child will do that. When the child is not being believed, when the child confides in you, comes to you, this is what I'm going through. Or maybe a child just tell you, Mommy, I'm not going to school today. You don't know what's going on in that school. But you need to find out why that child says, I don't want to go to school. Fine. There are some kids that don't want to go to school, maybe because they just feel like, let me play at home. But some, when it's getting too often, when it's getting too obvious, you need to just sit that child down and hear what he or she has to say. And please, you must believe that child for once. Give that child a benefit of doubt. So that's one reason why it is always hidden. Another reason is abusers are often people who the child knows. That's true. That's true. Abusers are people that the child knows. Hardly would you see a stranger come to abuse a child. Hardly will you see a stranger come to beat up a child. Hardly would you see a stranger use verbal attacks on a child that he or she does not know. Or hardly would you see a stranger that want to or plan about, oh, I want to abuse this child sexually. They are people that are close to these children. They are people who the children knows. That is why they often hide it. Like if I speak up now, it is my word against this person, especially if the person or the abuser is an adult. It is my word against the adults. So that's why they tend to hide it. The children hide it. They will not tell you anything about it. Then the third one is children may not know what is happening is very wrong. They don't have that understanding yet, especially in the sexual aspects. They don't know if this is wrong or right. They are being forced out of their will. So, reasons why they often hide any abuse they are going through. And lastly, the culture of silence and shame in some families and communities. Yeah, when a child wants to confide in you, you tend to keep the child quiet. Like, shut up. What are you trying to say? Or shut up. How can this person do this to you? This person is someone who is close to you. I don't believe that. Do you understand? You kept the child quiet. You silenced the child. You don't want the child to speak up. Now tell me, if you did that to that child, how would the child come to you and want to tell you another one that happened to him or her? The child will never confide in you again. The child will not come back to you. And you know, little kids, the way you act to them is the way they will reciprocate. If you are somebody who shouts at kids, then the kids would never be your friend. You must learn to bring them closer. Ask them what the problem is because you never can tell. Some of these kids, when they open their mouth to say one or two things, then you ask them, where did you get this from? You don't know. That's why I said, hi, you're welcome to my life. You finally joined. Okay. So, the culture of silence, I think that is very common. That is very common, especially parents who are too preoccupied for their kids. They don't have time. They all they want to do is walk, walk, walk. If the child comes with his or her own issues, you tell the child off. Please, I don't have your time, or this person cannot do this. That's the excuse you give to that child just to dismiss that conversation. You don't know what a child is going through. So now, what to look out for? What to look out for? Number one is sudden changes in behavior. Sudden changes in behavior. That child will definitely change. An example of the one I gave earlier was the physical abuse that I said that one is harming a child either at school or at playground or something. Okay, now let me use a playground as an example. A child has loved to maybe either play football or something. The child goes to the field to play, maybe sometimes without your supervision. And the child comes back home. Mommy, tomorrow I don't want to go there. Oh. I don't want to go to the field to have fun. Or the child suddenly stopped going to the field. You ask the child, why don't you want to go to the field to play football? He said, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. You need to just take notes of that aspect. Why the child have stopped going to that place where he or she always go to have fun. There is a reason why the child don't want to go again. That's the child's happy place. When the child gets to the field, the child is always happy. But at the end of the day, or at the long run, the child don't want to just go again. Check that out. That's a change in behavior. That's a change in behavior. Another thing is fearfulness or withdrawal. Fearfulness or withdrawal. There is always something that makes the child scared. There is something that makes the child afraid. When you ask the child, what's the sudden fear? Or the child is kind of timid. Why? That child was never like that. You need to inquire from the child. Why is this happening? What's going on? Did this person do this to you? What's the correlation? The child will be scared. Especially when you send the child to that person that is always abusing him or her, the child will always be scared. The child will always be scared. The child will not want to go anywhere. Then the withdrawal syndrome comes in. When the child is scared of coming to you, the child will withdraw from you now. No want to come to you. Doesn't want to have anything to do with you. You need to check that out. Those are the signs you see when a child is being abused. Fearfulness or withdrawal syndrome. Sudden change in behavior. Then the frequent injuries or excuses that happens to the part of the physical abuse. When a child is being harmed, there is frequent injuries on the child's body, and the child will always be giving flimsy why did you come late to school? My mommy said, my mommy do this, or I had to do something, something, something. You need to check that out. Or when the child returns from school, the child has bruises all over his body or her body. There is something that needs to be addressed. Or making out unnecessary excuse. The child makes unnecessary excuse. So, any addition, any opinion, any suggestion, any scenario or a story that can be used as an illustration for this topic we are having today. It's a very sensitive one and we must treat it as such. So, please, anyone. I'm not done, but I just want opinions or suggestions or anything you have that is contrary or that is like an opinion addition to what I just said. Sorry about that. So I just throw this to the audience. Please, can you say something about that? So now, maybe in the absence of no opinion, suggestions, or maybe later on, I'll throw it back to the audience. Another one is poor hygiene or hunger. That child is always hungry. That child is always hungry. Why are you hungry? Are you not well fed? Didn't they give you food at home? As in, that child is always hungry. You are abusing the child. You are abusing the child. So, another one is fear of going home or being around certain adults. Fear of going home, either from school or even from the playground, or that child doesn't want to be around certain adults. Watch out. Watch out. What is this person doing to this child that doesn't want to make this child go anywhere around that person? Watch out. If something feels off, it's worth paying attention to. Of course, you must have that. There's what we call how do I put it? Okay, when I remember the word, I'll let you know. When something feels off, you must pay attention to it. One caring adult can make a whole lot of difference. Someone who cares about a child in his or her environment can save a whole lot and can make a whole lot of difference. That's why I said you don't know that you're saving a future and you are also saving a soul. So if you noticed any of this thing around the child, know that that child is abused. In either form we want to call it, that child is abused. It has a long-term impact. What is that long-term impact? The child tends to have trust issues. The child will have trust issues. Is it that the child will not trust anyone around him or her? That trust will no longer be there. Low self-esteem. Low self-esteem. That child will start having this notion that I don't belong to a particular group. I don't want to stay here. So, low self esteem, or this thing doesn't befit me. Another one is depression. The child will be depressed. The child feels lonely and down. The child will feel lonely and down. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Anxiety, anxiety. What is that child going through? anxiety. Another one, and that long-term impact that child abuse have on a child is the difficulty to form long-term friendships or healthy friendships. That child will be unable to form healthy friendships be- because there is no trust. Once there is no trust in a relationship, that relationship is not healthy. Once you have low self-esteem, that relationship is not healthy. So the child will have difficulty in having long-term friendships or relationships, or healthy relationships rather. The third one is some of them may carry guilt or carry shame into adulthood. I am a living witness. I there is a particular, I told you that there was a particular um girl. Okay, let me just put it like this. She was my landlord's daughter while I was growing up. I think she was way older than me, so maybe like 5 or 6 years or 7 years. Then this thing, I still have it in my memory till today. And it seems because of that, I don't really get along with that lady. When I was a baby, when I was much younger, maybe I was 4 or 5 years old, she took my doll. She took my doll. She said she wanted to play with it. Okay, I gave it to her. It was time for her to return the doll. I said, "Give me back my doll." She didn't want to give it to me just because I asked for my doll. Do you know what she later on did with the doll? You know, when we were growing up, the houses we lived in, there is always a well water. I was going round in circles. I was going after her, "Give me my doll, give me my doll, give me my doll." The next thing, because she doesn't want to give me, she wants to take possession of this. She just to put the doll, she just throw it into the well. I was like, but I gave you this doll to play with. Now return my doll back to me. It's a problem. The next thing, you just throw it inside the well. I cried out my eyes that day. I was like, "My doll, baby me, let you do baby me, sing on me." We put my doll into the water, right? Ever since then, me and that girl or that lady, we were never friends. Just because you are older than me, you feel you can abuse me or do the way you want to do. We were never friends. Even when I see her on other apps, she send friend request and all of that, I'll just ignore her. Like, who and this one, who you and who want to make friend? That's to tell you that I agree with the trauma. I agree with it. So also children grew with shame and guilt into adulthood, especially the ones that went through the sexual abuse. They grow with so much shame and guilt in their mind. You don't know what's going on in their head. So, you see, this is not about pity, it's about the impact, it's about understanding the deep impact and the strength it takes to lead, or it takes to heal rather. It's not about us pitying the person. That person needs to be appreciated, because you never can tell what the person went through. You never can tell what was going through the person's mind all through the process of that abuse. So it takes a lot of strength, it takes a lot of courage to heal up. It takes a lot of courage, a lot of strength to heal up. So you see, now this takes us to the question that what can we do? What can we do? There is always a solution to every problem. What can you do as an adult, as a parent, as an observer, as a prospective parent? What can you do? What can I do to help the situation? There are lots of things we can do. There are lots of things we can do to, and what we need to do is to offer hope and action steps. The steps you take need to help the person out of the situation, or make a hopeful step. The person has hope that one day I'm going to get out of the situation, or I'm going to heal up. And that's one step is listen without judgment. Listen without judgment. And one thing we need to learn is listen without judging first. That will save the situation. Afterwards, you cannot make your research or something, but that moment, do not judge the child, just listen to the child. Because once you start judging, the child will hold back. I don't want to say anything again. Number two, believe children when they speak. Believe children when they speak. Do not assume they are saying gibberish. Believe them when they speak, please. That's number two ways of what can we do to help the situation. Report abuse when you suspect. And that's what I want every good adult, or every good observer, every good parent to do, or every person who has the heart to save the world. Report abuse. Report abuse. Learn your child, lean your child to protection services or hotlines. Lean your child to protection services or hotline. That means you can tell your child the hotline to call when they need protection as a child. There are hotlines you can call when you need protection, or when you're in danger, when you're abused. There are hotlines to call. Educate others. Break the silence. When you see someone working in that aspect of abuse, educate them and break the silence. Educate others and break the silence. Another one is to speak to survivors daily or directly. Speak to survivors, people who have gone through it and have survived. Speak to them, hear from them. You can also learn from them. So that when somebody beside you is also facing it, you will say, oh, no wonder this child was behaving this way. That survivor has gone through it and has survived that process, already have the experience. So when that person speaks to you directly, you know what to do. So this is the art of my message. If you went through any abuse as a child, please hear this. You were not to blame. You are not to blame. And you are not broken. This is me telling you, you are not to blame and you're not broken. And your story doesn't end with pain. You are lovable. You are worthy. And in love and safety, you can lead or you can heal. This is to everyone that have gone through such situation. You are loved and you are valuable. You need to get yourself together and heal up. So now I'm ending with a note of encouragement. Please encourage people to share the video to spread awareness. Encourage yourself, encourage other people, encourage a friend to tell a friend to share this video so that it can get to where it's supposed to get to and the needful will be done. The needful will be done. A child help, for example, you can call child help 1 to 800 to 4 to A to a child. When I say to, I mean the hyphen mark, child help 1 to 800 hyphen 4 hyphen A to hyphen a child in the US. You can call that in the US. That's number one child protection service that I know. So that is one place you can always call for help when you notice somebody is going through, or when you notice a child is going through some form of abuse and you need to help that child. You can call for help. And you can also call any other line that you know is of child protection. So the thing is, let this generation speak up for children. Let them protect their children. Let them support children, support survivors too. That is what I encourage this generation to do. Support them, protect them, love them, encourage them. So today, I think I have been able to share my own knowledge about child abuse, what child abuse is, what to look out for when a child is being abused. What do you do to help that child? The changes you see in a child when that child is being abused, and the type of abuse, and that is what is child abuse. Under it, you have what is child abuse. So today, if you noticed any of these that I have mentioned, please do not hesitate to call out such behaviors or such attitude, because you are saving a soul and you're also saving a future. So now to the audience, you have the floor. I think that's all I can bring up as per child abuse. So let me learn from you also. I am not I am not an island of knowledge. So I want to learn from people who have also experienced, might not be a direct experience, but you have seen one or two people go through it and you feel like, let me just tell the story. Like one of my friend called me this morning and she was like, Jimmy, I have a story to tell. I was like, what is the story? She was like, the fear of losing someone that you have, the fear of losing someone that is already lost. I was like, what is this? Does people really go through it? Though I lost my father, but I don't have the fear of losing him any longer because I believe I can't lose him twice. I cannot lose him twice. It's only if I have the power to bring him back that I can. I'll be scared of losing him again. But how can I be scared of losing something I've already lost? So, with that, I told her, though I don't know much about this, but I would make my findings from one or two people and they are going to tell me their story, then I'll share it with you. So now I'm putting it back to you in the comment section that if there is anything you know about child abuse and how it can be eradicated, please let me know. Over to you. Over to you. Who is there? Over to you. I'm waiting. Okay, any question? Any question, any observation, any opinion, ideas, or something? Should we call it a day then? Since we are done, nobody wants to ask questions. Nobody wants to talk about anything. So, mommy, no question. Okay. Oh. Do have a nice day ahead. Bye.